In today's video, we're covering another US highway, this one being US 101. US 101 is 1,535.27 miles going through California, Oregon, and Washington. That starts in Los Angeles at I-5, I-10 in California 60, and ends in Tumwater, Washington at I-5. US 101 begins at the East Los Angeles interchange with I-5, I-10, California 60, and itself, and we're signed north for Los Angeles. This should stay downtown Los Angeles and the Civic Center. When we meet California 110, we're now signed north for Ventura, which is odd as it's the tiny south of it, Oxnard, and Thousand Oaks, so this should be Thousand Oaks or Oxnard here instead. When we meet the 405, we're still signed north for Ventura. As I said earlier, this should be Thousand Oaks or Oxnard. In Oxnard, we meet California 1, and if you want to see a video on the highway, check it out in the description after you finish this video. When California 33 terminates at US 101, we're now signed north for San Francisco, which by all means is the correct choice here. On the mileage sign, Santa Barbara is our secondary in 25 miles, and San Francisco is our primary in 364. After Santa Barbara, our new secondary is San Luis Obispo in 93 miles. Here, California 1 leaves us, and we are still signed north for San Luis Obispo in San Francisco. After San Luis Obispo, our new secondary is Salinas in 123 miles. Our new secondary after Salinas is San Jose in 42 miles. When we get to San Jose, we meet I-280 and I-680 for downtown San Jose and Sacramento respectively, and we're still signed north for San Francisco. When we meet I-880, it is signed north for Oakland and south for Santa Cruz, and we are still signed north for San Francisco. Here we meet I-380, signed for I-280 in San Bruno, and we're still signed north for San Francisco. Here we meet I-280 again, signed south for Daly City and north for downtown San Francisco, and we are now signed north for the Civic Center and the Bay Bridge on I-80. At I-80's beginning, it is signed for the Bay Bridge in Oakland, and we are now signed north for the Golden Gate Bridge. This is the third time we've crossed the Golden Gate Bridge on this channel. Wow. We're now signed north for San Rafael and Eureka after crossing the Golden Gate Bridge. When I-580 ends at US 101, San Rafael is replaced by Santa Rosa. But on the mileage sign, Santa Rosa becomes a secondary and Eureka's our primary. Why is it like this? Santa Rosa is like 27 times larger than Eureka. After Eureka, we're now signed north for Crescent City. On the mileage sign, however, though, Portland is now our primary in 397 miles and Crescent City is our secondary in 69. When we meet US 199, which will actually take you to Portland via I-5, we're now signed north for Oregon Coast, just on like Brookings here or something, not Oregon Coast. But on the mileage sign, for some reason, Portland is still here. Make Brookings the primary, not Portland. How many times have we seen this state welcome sign already? On the mileage sign, Coos Bay is our primary in 104 miles. When we meet Oregon 241, we're still signed north for Coos Bay, but we're now also signed for North Bend as well. In North Bend, we meet Oregon 540, and we're now signed north for Reedsport and Florence. In Florence, we meet Oregon 126, and we're now signed north for Yachats and Newport. By the way, Yachats has like 994 people. Newport is fine by itself up on the sign. In Newport, we meet US 20, and we're now signed for Depew Bay and Lincoln City. Lincoln City is fine by itself here. After we pass Lincoln City, we meet Oregon 18, and we're now signed north for Tillamook and Astoria. Astoria is fine by itself here. On the mileage sign, we have Tillamook as our secondary in 39 miles and Astoria as our primary in 109. In Astoria, we cross over the Columbia River into Washington. I actually couldn't find a state welcome sign, so this is the best thing we get for a state welcome sign, unfortunately. When we meet Washington 401, we're now signed north for Ilwaco and Long Beach, which is fine because you take Washington 401 to get to Aberdeen the fastest from here. Here we meet US 101 alternate, signed for Raymond and Aberdeen, which is a faster way to continue for long distance traffic here. After we pass Ilwaco, we meet Washington 103, and we're now signed for Raymond and Aberdeen like US 101 alternate was. However, Raymond goes to the third line and Aberdeen becomes our secondary on the mileage sign, and Longview is now our primary because of Washington 4, which we meet soon, which actually goes there. When we meet Washington 4 for Longview and Kelso, we're now back to being signed for Raymond and Aberdeen. After passing Aberdeen, we're now signed for Forks and Port Angeles. US 101 has actually become an east-west highway, so now instead of going northbound, we're going eastbound. And now we're switching back to a north-south road because I actually couldn't find anything in Port Angeles. But instead of going eastbound, we're now actually going southbound, which is really odd, but, you know, just go with it. When we meet Washington 20, we're now signed south for Quilcene and Olympia. On the mileage sign, Olympia is our primary in 82 miles. Here we meet Washington 3, signed north for Bremerton, and also if you want to watch a video on it, check it out in the description after you finish this video. And here's where US 101 ends at I-5, north for Olympia and Seattle, and south for Tumwater and Portland. The control city should be downtown Los Angeles, Thousand Oaks and Oxnard because Oxnard is bigger, then Oxnard by itself, then Ventura and San Francisco, Santa Barbara and San Francisco, Santa Maria and San Francisco, San Luis Obispo and San Francisco, then Salinas and San Francisco. All of these with San Francisco because San Francisco is a lot larger than all of them, then San Jose and San Francisco, then Bay Bridge, I guess, or you could do 2I-80, I really don't know, then Golden Gate Bridge, then San Rafael, then Santa Rosa, then Eureka is literally the best thing you could sign, then Portland, skip Crescent City, then Brookings, don't do Orchid Coast, Coos Bay, Florence, Newport, Lincoln City, Astoria, then Ilwaco and Long Beach, Aberdeen, no need for Raymond, Port Angeles, there's also no need for Forks either, Olympia, and then do both Olympia and Seattle from Brennan onwards. If you enjoyed today's video, please subscribe. I also have other videos on my channel where I cover more US highways, and I also cover interstates and state highways. And I also look into control cities to see if they're worthy of control city status. Anyway, see you guys next time. Bye!